Robbie Meyer with Pearson Meyer Wines.
What do you think is, right now, the most misunderstood thing about wine?
Wow. I don't know that anyone's asked me that question before. Okay, but let me think about it. I don't know if it's misunderstood, but price point and quality is very confusing to people. And my friends from growing up, they know that like I make higher end wines, and it's like they're very quick to kind of like make fun of a $9.99 bottle of wine, $9 bottle of wine. And it's like, you don't understand how hard that is to do. It's possibly harder to make 500,000 cases of a $10 bottle of wine than it is to make 100 cases of a $200 bottle of wine. So that's a misunderstood idea, to be sure. And then also on the opposite side, then people are like, well, why does it cost, $150 a bottle of wine for this? And I mean, just my farming costs are ridiculous. What I get yelled at Murrieta as well is because I love to spend money. I want to, I want like best farming practices, and sure, it's not that I have the unique unicorn idea. It's that perfection and doing things well costs a lot of money. And so when I'm not talking about a $15,000 bottle of wine, but a $150 bottle of wine that's very, very expensive, for at least for me, you have to understand that it costs a lot to produce that. So yeah, that would be my most kind of misconstrued idea from my friends and customers. It's like they don't understand the economics of what it really costs to make wine.
I'm Alexandra Henkelman. I am the co-owner and co-winemaker here at Omega Road Winery. This is actually one of the things I'm most passionate about. I think for a long time wine has been used to other, and it has been used in a way to separate. The more you know, the better you are. The more access you have to expensive, rare, high-priced, high-value wines, the more successful you are. And at its root, wine is grape farming and fermentation. That's all it is. So I think that the most beautiful thing about wine is that there is a wine for everybody. And I don't care if it is your first sip or you've been doing this for decades and you're a master somm and a WSET level 4 and a certified wine scholar, and you have all the knowledge and all the education. You still have your favorite, and you still get to find your favorite, and you still get to share that glass with the people you care about. And so I think that breaking down those barriers is really important. And to me, that is the magic of wine. It's not about how much you know or don't know. It's not about what producers you've been to or what vineyards you've been to. It's about, did you find a glass that you enjoy? And who are you going to share that with?
Hi, my name is Noah Taylor. I'm at Retzlaff Vineyards. Wine is so misunderstood because of the post effects of Prohibition, I would say, are still lingering, which is hard to really fathom. But when Prohibition ended, really big business took over the alcohol industry, whether it was, the beer that made Milwaukee famous, Adolf Coors, the Budweiser guys, and just so a lot of just kind of blanket conglomeration, not to mention also big beverage brands like, say, Coca-Cola and Pepsi. I mean, if you're a small-time farmer in Livermore here in 1945 or post-war industrialization, who did you hear about? You heard about Pepsi-Cola, and Coca-Cola, and those brands were associated with the Hollywood elite and, your Camel cigarettes and everything else.
Hi, my name is Jessica Carroll, and I'm the winemaker and owner at JMC Cellars. I'm not sure where it started, but it got into a routine. It got a reputation. There we go. It got a reputation for being for people with lots of money, which then kind of creates this snooty environment around it, which at its core, wine is ag. So it is pretty much the opposite of snooty. And I actually genuinely don't like that it has that reputation. I think wine should be approachable. It is approachable. It's just it has this outer layer of intimidation that has come from that reputation. And I like to dispel that as much as possible.
Hi, I'm Stephen Mirassou. I'm a winemaker and proprietor of the Stephen Kent Winery in Livermore, California. Great question. I think the most misunderstood thing about wine is that it has to be complicated. That it has to be, that it's a beverage for only a certain income stratum or a certain experience level. Wine in Europe is part of the family table. It's just like water is in the United States. It's just it's what your neighbors make to go along with the food that you produce in practically every small town in Italy and France and Spain. It's, again, another one of those things the wine industry has done a bad job of defetishizing it. There's so much focus on how expensive wine is and the number of points that a certain wine gets and all the bullshit, if I can say so, that creates barriers rather than tearing barriers down. Wine is delicious. Wine is beautiful. Wine is a product of a lot of hard work and of being in beautiful places where grapes grow well. And it's a product of, again, family experiences and making it complicated on purpose. It is doing a disservice to wine as that thing that we want to use to share with and create new experiences and that sort of thing. And I think that if, especially for younger consumers, if we helped them as an industry to not worry about how you pronounce a grape's name and not worry about what you're supposed to pair it with and all of these things that add interest once you're kind of in the ecosystem of wine, certainly add interest, and you can go down a rabbit hole forever, and I have, and my family has, and it's a wonderful place to be in a lot of ways, but it doesn't help new and less experienced wine drinkers really get a kind of clear picture about what makes wine so freaking delicious in the first place and makes it so wonderful in the first place. So I think that's a fundamental issue I think that the industry has, and that that hopefully puts at ease, to a degree anyway, that it can, younger drinkers in approaching wine in the first place.
My name is Jennifer Sahara, and I'm the owner at Sakura Winery. I do think there is a little bit of scariness to it, or there can be, to people who haven't been around it much. it's not intentional, but I think it just can be there. And I'm hoping, that, like you were saying, the relaxed nature of, Livermore Valley, and that it can be more of a welcoming place where it doesn't have to be so scary. People don't actually have to know anything about wine to enjoy it. You can just come and taste it any way you want, eat it with anything you want, and just as long as you can enjoy it, that's what matters. So hopefully that's what people can learn to see. And coming to Livermore, I know everyone in Livermore is pretty welcoming to new people to the wine world, and so yeah, hopefully that's the feeling people will get when they come here and not feel intimidated.
Hi, my name is Lisa Lee. I am the winemaker here at Charles R. Vineyards in Livermore Valley. I think wine has historically felt like it's a sort of an elite thing, and I think that's where the P word, the pretentiousness, can come from. And people, I think, are easily intimidated by that idea, and so it can turn them off if they maybe don't know anything about wine. And that's something I love about Livermore, is that you can be anywhere in your wine journey and find wines that you'll connect with, and find people and wineries, and it's such a welcoming and open place that we try and remove that feeling altogether, because wine should be fun, and it should be easy, and it should be the thing that's bringing us, together.
Hi, I'm Larry Dino. I'm a winemaker of Cuda Ridge Wines. I think wine's got a prestige to it, right? And, wine, unlike a lot of other alcoholic beverages, is really kind of a social beverage. And I think in some respects it's got an elitist kind of attitude to it, which it shouldn't and doesn't need to be. But I think that at times makes people, feel uncomfortable or, inferior about talking about wine and describing wine, when really it should just be enjoyed, and whatever you taste and smell in the wines, you just talk about them and, enjoy them with your friends and family.
I am Rhonda Wood, owner and founding winemaker of Wood Family Vineyards. I think wine is a beverage, and it should be treated like a beverage and something to enjoy, and you don't have to get down in the dirt. You can nerd out on it, but just the taste, the flavor, the balance, that's what it's about, and how it goes with the food. Does it make the food taste better? Does the food make the wine taste better? But you can just say, I like it, and just leave it simple. You don't have to get into all of that. And so I think it's misunderstood, because people are just making too much of it sometimes, and not just keeping it simple. Like, it's good, it tastes good.
Hi, I'm Tim Sauer, winemaker at Arroyo Cellars.
Hi, my name is John Chiprich. I'm one of the winemakers here at Arroyo Cellars. I think wine is misunderstood because people overcomplicate it. They're trying to read too much into it. Wine is a product of nature. It's there to be enjoyed. The beauty of wine is that, yes, there are lots of different flavors and tastes that you can pick up to it. But your knowledge of those flavors and tastes is actually your knowledge. It's based on your experiences. If you've never tasted something before, odds are you're not going to pick it up in the wine. So people tend to try to overthink what they're doing. That's my position.
I think wine is misunderstood, but not everywhere. I think if you go to Europe, wine is not misunderstood. It's a part of it. It's a way of life. Everybody enjoys, not everybody, but most of the population enjoys wine in Europe as part of their everyday food consumption and beverage. And it's a way of life. Here, when you come to the United States, wine is very regional. So most of the, West Coast, I don't think wine is misunderstood on the West Coast, because that's one of the largest wine producing regions in the United States, as well as on the East Coast. But it's misunderstood, I think, in the middle of the United States, because there are not that many wineries there. They're not the same quality of grapes or the same kind of grapes that are grown in Europe or on the West and East Coast. So from there is they don't know. And at least to me as a wine industry is not so much a way of life in the United States. It's a business. It's an agribusiness. Sure. And I think that kind of takes away from it. I wish that everybody, would be able to enjoy wine and understand wine as much as we do here in California. Because I just think it's not misunderstood here. But as minute you start going out of California or out of the West Coast, it becomes like, oh, yeah, we don't have wine. Or if it is, it's the big guys, and all their wine is so uniform. They're not those unique things that smaller wineries do or other areas produce. So.
Hi, I'm Rosa Fierro. I am the owner and winemaker at Rosa Fierro Cellars. Well, I feel like a lot of times people are intimidated by wine because they'll go into a fancy restaurant and there'll be a giant wine list, and it's very confusing if you don't know that there's different, a lot of people don't even know the difference between Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, that they're different grapes. So you get this big confusing list. You don't know where to start. The wines are all various prices. You don't know why one's more expensive than the other. You want to impress the people you're with. The same thing with going wine tasting. Different regions are more expensive than others. Why are wines priced higher and other wines are priced lower? But really the thing about wine is, it's meant to be enjoyed. I feel like it's meant to be shared with friends and family and to, accentuate the food you're having, to share your food with everyone, share your wine with everyone, and just have a really great time doing it. And to me, it's just makes the experience all that much more pleasurable. So I really don't think that it matters too much. If you're just going to go into a restaurant or into a tasting room, you should just enjoy yourself and not feel like it's such a pretentious experience, because really it's not. And we're all here just to teach you what it's about. And for you to learn. And the more you go wine tasting, the more you learn that. The more dinners you have, and the more you invite your friends over and say, bring a Chardonnay this time, or bring a Cabernet this time. And the more you share them, the more you understand things about them. So it's always just fun to practicing. Practicing wine tasting will definitely help you understand it more.
Hi, my name is Meredith Sarbararia, Barrel Down Wine Services. Wow, I think it's because there's so much of it out there, and it's very intimidating for people, right? When I teach my seminars, my goal is to get people to get involved with the seminar. If I ask a question, I want responses, because I don't feel that wine should be something to be scared of. It should be something that's more relaxed, enjoyable, fun. There's no wrong answers, So I think it's not as approachable. And especially if you compare it to whiskey and beer or spirits, the other types of alcoholic beverages that you can choose from, it just seems to be so highly intimidating to people. It's like they need to prove that, they know something about it. Gosh, if I had a nickel for every time somebody found out I was a winemaker and tried to show me that and prove to me that they knew something, and I just in my head, I'm thinking, it's okay, you don't need to do that. I'm a very relaxed wine person, in the wine industry. I'm not stuffy about it, it's not a pissing contest here. So, and just the market is so saturated with different types of wine, different wineries. And then when it comes to foreign wine, oh my gosh. So that's even way more intimidating for people because it's labeled differently, it's in a different language. They don't know if this is the varietal they're looking at or if it's something else, you know. So I think that that is the big challenge that the wine industry is always trying to overcome. We're always fighting to teach people that, okay, you know, you don't have to overthink what you're doing. You know, just open a bottle, just drink it, just have whatever food you want with it, you know, get your own enjoyment out of it. But yeah, I do see the need for education, for more education on it. So yeah, I do hope that happens, but it is tough because if you ask a sommelier how hard was it to get your certification or your title, it's like going to university, you know, so
It's commitment.
Yeah.